woke up to the really horrific story of Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752, and I don't usually cover air crashes as they happen, but in this case I'm compelled to because this is such a high profile accident and I've seen a lot of speculation and a lot of fear mongering on the internet, especially Twitter. So I thought I'd make a video putting together just the facts. I'm not going to be making any assumptions. I'm going to offer my thoughts on what happened. So this is just going to be that. So for the uninformed, last week the US put out an airstrike on a top Iranian general, Qasem Soleimani. Now, this is a very touchy region of the world. Tensions have been high. It's been embroiled in war for a lot of its history, and this just kicked up tensions to a whole another level. And today, after days of deliberation, Iran has finally hit back at the US, launching short range ballistic missiles at US targets in the Middle East, especially two of their air bases. They fired almost 30 ballistic missiles, as far as the reports say, and a few of them did hit US air bases, although casualty numbers are unknown. There have been reports that says that no one was injured in the attacks themselves. Now, right after this ballistic missile attack, which is an obvious escalation of tensions in the region, we have the crash of PS752. Now, this is the data, the flight radar data for the airplane, and we see a normal climb profile from the airplane. This is what you'd expect the plane to do. We have speed tapering off at like 275 knots, and we see the plane climbing normally, a steady climb. And then all of a sudden, it just falls off the radar. It was at 7,925 feet, and poof, it's gone. So whatever happened quick, and it was catastrophic. Now I have the flight radar data for JT610, the 737 MAX of Lion Air that crashed last year. And here, especially at the end, you can see that the plane was in distress. You had the altitude going down and the speed picking up. It was in a deep dive. So whatever took the plane down, what happened to the plane, it happened over some time so that this data could be recorded. The same with ET302, the Ethiopian 737 MAX that went down. You have, you have signs of distress. Again, the Atlas Air flight, the Amazon Prime flight. This is the last 1 minute of data, and you can see right here that it just goes into a dive. This is, things went from okay to very bad very quickly. This was a crash that happened really, really quickly. We still don't know what happened in this case, but the data still shows that, you can see the plane in distress. But in the case of Ukraine International, you just see the plane just in a normal climb profile and then just fall off the map. No, it was catastrophic. Whatever happened, it was catastrophic. Now, let's look at the data for MH17, the plane that was shot down in Ukraine. Here you have another plane that's in a normal regime of flight. It's at 33,000 feet at about 473 knots, 480 here. And again, at 490 knots and 33,000 feet, the plane just drops off of radar. You have no sign of distress, no nothing. It just drops out of the now drops off radar. Now, what could cause this? If Now, obviously, a lot of people are saying that Iran shot this plane down. I'm not here to speculate. Let's just look at this like a regular air crash. Let's just look at it objectively. Now, if the plane's engines were to have an uncontained failure, that could maybe rip out electrical wiring. It could cut out power to their data recorders and the radios. And you could see something like this. And if that uncontained failure was not reacted to properly, it could cause the plane to spiral out of control. Or if they had a cabin depressurization, an explosive cabin depressurization, it could also rupture the electrical wires that powered the radios, and you'd have something similar like this. There was an MD-80, I believe. Don't quote me on that. There was an MD-80 that had an explosive decompression, and in the explosive decompression, it severed a lot of the control lines and a lot of the electricals, leaving the plane basically, dead in the air. So something like that could happen. There are people just there that are definitively saying that this was an Iranian shootdown. It is just too early, especially the Iranian media was saying that this was a malfunction, a mechanical malfunction. It is just too early to say any of that. This is purportedly the plane falling from the sky, and it's not verified at this point, so you really can't see a lot. It just shows the plane coming down and exploding. Apparently, it's the plane. We don't know if it's the plane, but this, but this is the crash site. This is the wreckage of the plane. This really shows the plane in very, very small pieces. There are very few big pieces of the plane remaining. So whatever happened to the plane, I think it broke up in midair because you have the wreckage spread over a large area. So whatever happened to the plane, it happened at higher altitudes, maybe exploded in the air, maybe the aerodynamic forces tore the plane to shreds. Here you have the crash site of the plane, and as you can see, there's not much of a crater, but the plane is spread out over a large area. So whatever happened to the plane, it probably separated in mid-air. That's pretty much all we know. In a scenario of a mid-air breakup, maybe like an explosive decompression or an engine failure, an uncontained engine failure, which affected the aerodynamics of the airplane, this is what you'd see. So what do we know as right now? We know that the plane was in a normal regime of flight. Something catastrophic happened to it, and as it came down, it broke apart and then hit the ground. That's all we know right now. Anything outside of that is just pure speculation, including my two theories of engine failure and the explosive decompression. Now, the final thing in this is that Iran refuses to hand over the black boxes to the United States because they're almost at war with the United States. So they don't want to hand over the black boxes, and that kind of puts Iran in a bad light because they launched a rocket attack on the US, a plane mysteriously goes down, and now they're refusing to share information about it. And these are just the facts, and I don't want this crash to become, a point for warmongering or fear mongering. These are the facts, and I hope we can get to the bottom of this crash.